All right, so 111, when we're looking at Unit 2, we're looking at China again still. I was talking about the idea of philosophy that happens in the later Shang period itself. And the idea is we start to have the breakdown of the Shang Empire and the rise of what's going to be the Chao, but also we have the breakdown of normality of what's happening. And so what we have is we have people starting to question, starting to trying to figure out, how to fix things. We start to explore philosophy. We start to look for answers along the way. One of those is going to be the idea of Taoism and the idea of balance and the idea of searching. The Tao is important both when we start to talk about Confucius and we start to talk about some of the other ideas, because the essence of balance is what Confucius is looking to restore. What's interesting is that Confucius is a scholar. He's a lower noble, but indeed he's a noble. And he is a learned person. And so what's going to happen is he is going to develop a pattern of thought. He's going to develop a philosophy. He's going to write it down. There's a few things that are attributed to him. The one thing we know for sure is the Analects. And the Analects are important because it's a listing of his ideas and ideals, and it's listed by his followers. Among them is going to be Mencius. Among them is going to be Sun Tzu. And there's some other folks that follow along in this stead. We're going to cover them right now. What we're going to talk about is the idea that Confucius believes. And he believes that gentlemen are important, that scholars are important. The way the Tao is important as well. But what he believes is that there are junzi, 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 which are gentlemen, right? That are scholars, because he believes that gentlemen not only possess land, but possess knowledge, and possess knowledge and learning as scholars. They also exude something. They exude the essence of what they call li, right? And that gentlemanly essence determines how they're going to act and the standards. At the root of his belief system is that people are good, all right? People are good, and sometimes they fall off that path and they just need a guide. Okay, they just need an example set by people, and he's going to say, listen, the people that set the example are going to be those junzi, those gentlemen, those nobles, those scholars, those learned people, and by practicing and exuding their li, they're going to give the proper behavior and the proper way to do things. The other mainstay of his belief system, besides that people are good, is the idea of filial piety. And he's going to tap back into those five sages. And the idea of filial piety is about not just family and respect in the family, but it's about relationships and respect with other people. And sometimes people want to talk about the religion of Confucianism, and it's not a religion, it's a belief system. He believes in the greater beings. He believes in the creator God. He believes in ritual. He believes in the importance of religious ritual, that it adds structure in society, gives us a practice. And so this is an addition to religion as far as he's concerned. And what he's going to say is, listen, people are good. They just need leaders to show them, remind them of how to be good, to set the actions for people. And we can do that. And the best way to do that is through the gentlemen, the junzi, the leaders, the nobles, the scholars, acting in the appropriate way. And the appropriate way is through exuding filial piety. They can best set that example by following these five cardinal relationships. And those five cardinal relationships are important, and he's going to lay them out for the people in the Analects. And so the first cardinal relationship is going to be ruler to subject, ruler to subject. There's people that are in charge, and there's people that are the subjects to the rulers. The idea is the ruler is indeed supposed to rule. He's supposed to be benevolent. He's supposed to be kind. He's supposed to treat people the way he would want to be treated, because that's the other essence that he talks about is, if you got to remember one thing, don't do anything to other people that you wouldn't want them to do to you. That's an old golden rule, folks, okay? It extends across quite a few different things, but this is important, and the idea here is, listen, we're going to do ruler to subject. The next step is going to be father to son. That's going to be the second cardinal relationship. Fathers, should treat their sons in a certain way. Sons should treat their fathers with a certain amount of respect. That's that filial piety about that relationship. There's an expectation of honor. There's an expectation of respect, that goes in that treatment. And the next step is going to be husband to wife. And what you have to remember, this is a patriarchal society, folks. The men make the rules. The men are in charge. So it's going to be the husband laying down the law for the wife, and the wife is going to answer, to that. She is going to assume her place, just as the daughters are going to assume their place along the way, and that they're going to correspond in a certain manner. The next cardinal relationship is going to be elder brother to younger brother, because, if you have an older brother, if you have a younger brother, you correspond and act in a certain way. That the older brother is the one who sets the tone. The younger brother should be following in his footsteps. The older brother should say, listen, this is the way we act. This is the way we honor. This is the way we behave. And in following, the younger brother will see and act accordingly. And the last one is, the fifth one is going to be friend to friend. And friend to friend, that's pretty simple. How you treat your friends, how would you have your friends treat you? And this is going to be the basis for his philosophy. And it's going to expand, because with that, it's also going to be about, listen, if gentlemen set the pace, if gentlemen set the standard, then the other people are going to follow, because they exude that essence, and people just want to be led. They're naturally good, so they just want to be led. Now, what's important is he's going to spend the last portion of his life leading into the Warring States period trying to spread this message, trying to spread this idea, trying to help restore order the way things should be. But also, we're going to look at a different type of philosophy, and that's going to crop up, and it's going to be legalism. And legalism is going to take a page out of the Qin dynasty, but also it's going to take a belief from one of his followers, and the follower is going to be Sun Tzu, as far as he's going to reinterpret the idea of Confucian philosophy. And Sun Tzu is important because he's going to say Confucius is a little confused. Confucius thought people are good, and so what's going to happen under legalism and the reinterpretation via Sun Tzu is you're going to have a guy named Lord Shang, and Lord Shang is going to say, hey, listen, we've done some research, we've done some reading. It turns out people aren't good. Okay, people are naturally bad, and people need correction, and people need guidance. And the fact is that, I love my family dearly, but y'all ain't my family. And I have to rule you, and since I have to rule you, I have to rule with an iron hand. I got to rule with an iron fist. And so here's the rules. I expect you to misbehave, and since you're going to misbehave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat you accordingly. The idea that people are bad and must be controlled is the essence and the root of legalism, because what's going to happen is he's going to define a set of rules. Here's the laws, here's they're codified, and here's the punishments. Think very much an eye for an eye, because he's going to take a page out of that and say, listen, maximum punishment for minimum infraction. Listen, here is the law, here is what's going to happen, and it's going to apply to everybody across the board. There's not two sets of laws, there's not three sets of laws, there's one set of laws. You do this, this is what will happen. You do this, this is what will happen. You do this, this is what will happen. The idea being is a maximum enforcement of these very strict laws is going to force everyone to obey, because if you look, you do this and you're going to die, you do this and we're going to chop off this, then people know cause and effect. And the idea being is if you provide maximum penalty, if you provide maximum enforcement, if the law applies to everybody regardless of social stratification, that there's going to be order. Okay, and it's going to be this iron fist of order, which is really kind of opposite what we're talking about with the Tao, kind of what we're talking about opposite of the whole Confucian ideals. But, those three isms, the legalism, the Taoism, the Confucianism, are a huge part of Chinese culture and philosophy. I'm going to pick it up and talk about the Chow here shortly.